Hello, fellow inspirers. How are you doing? It's so good to be here. How has your day been? I have been looking forward to this live. I had no live, but today I just said, let's do something different. All right. So today we're going to be talking about this common thing that we do where we tell men, be a man. It's so common, it's like a global phenomenon or an almost global phenomenon where we tell people, or we tell men rather, be a man. And when I hear that statement, be a man, it makes me wonder, is there a definition for that statement, be a man? What exactly do people mean when they say be a man? It really makes me wonder. So today we are looking at how that statement impacts men. We are looking at what it means when people say be a man. And we are looking at how that statement impacts the mental health of men around us. Many people don't consider men's mental health. Many people don't wonder, is my brother okay? Is my dad okay? Is my husband okay? Is my boyfriend okay? Is my male colleague okay? Many people don't wonder about that because we have this culture where men are supposed to be strong. We have this culture where men are not supposed to show their emotions. And so what that does is that over time, men learn to stifle their emotions because they are not supposed to show their emotions or express themselves. Now, this statement, be a man, where does it come from? I discovered that it comes mostly from our cultures, because many cultures across the world have a kind of template for men where the men are strong, where the men are not expressive, where the men are not vocal, and they are more like silent figures. They take a lot of action, but they don't say so much. And so there is that mindset, there is that concept, there is that culture, that tradition. Now, that tradition is one that may have worked in the past, but when you look at some things that some men say, those who are able to express themselves, when you look at our world today, you ask yourself, is it still realistic to tell men be a man? And that be a man translates to don't express yourself, don't say how you feel, don't be emotional, because we just want these strong, silent characters. We want men to be strong and silent. But does it still work in our world today? Because if it comes from a culture of years back, if it comes from a culture that is now outdated, we need to know, do we have to upgrade and update the templates? Or do we keep going on with this culture of be a man? So I would like to know, drop something in the comments. If you're a guy, tell me how that statement be a man comes across to you. And if you're a lady, if you're someone who is used to saying be a man, what do you mean when you tell men be a man? I would really love to know, and I want to read from you in the comments. Now, apart from the culture, there are some family backgrounds that encourage men to be that prototype, that template. They want men to be rigid and stoic. They want men to be unfeeling, or at least even if they are feeling, don't show their feelings. They don't want men to show their feelings. There are some families like that where there is a set of rules for the men, there's a set of rules for the women, and the men are to act in a certain way and the women are to act in a certain way. And those rules are usually rigid, such that every woman born into that kind of family must follow the template, and every man born into that kind of rigid family must follow the template for men. So these are some of the things that influence this culture of be a man. Besides that, there are some other people who don't have a personal idea of what it means to be a man. They don't have a template. It's just that they hear other people saying be a man, and so they pick up the lingo. For them it's just a slang. For them it's just something that people say. For them it's just the normal thing. It's just, part of our day-to-day language, and they don't really know or even think of the effects that statement is having on the men. And even they themselves may not necessarily have expectations. For them it's just an empty statement that means nothing. Be a man. And so they just carry on, join the bandwagon, keep shouting, be a man, be a man, be a man. And they don't realize what harm they are causing. So, like I said earlier, if this statement has made any impact on you as a guy or as a lady, why I say as a lady is that there are some ladies who don't like the statement, and so they just cannot stand it, and they're like, be a man. What does it mean, be a man? But mostly men, I want to know, how does this impact you? When someone says be a man, what feeling comes up in you? How do you feel? So I want to know. Please drop it in the comments. Now, we've looked at the backgrounds, we've looked at the culture, we've looked at society and how it came up with this mentality, this concept of be a man. Now let's also look at some of the effects of the statement be a man. Now, like I said, be a man affects the men mostly, and for some of them it can be a source of encouragement, because I'm not going to deny that there are some people who are inspired when they hear the statement be a man. There are some men who are encouraged to keep pushing, who are motivated, who feel like there is a surge of energy or encouragement when people tell them be a man. So while some people see it as motivation, while some people see it as a push, a driving force, there are some other people who see it as a kind of trap, like a slippery slope. They see it as being compelled to do certain things. And so we are going to look at some of the negative effects for those people who do not see the statement be a man as a source of encouragement. So one of the negative effects of telling men be a man is that it makes them feel incompetent. Some people feel incompetent because for some people, when you tell them be a man, they think to themselves, do you mean I'm not being a man? They think to themselves, oh, that means I'm not meeting up. That means I'm performing below par, maybe financially, maybe socially, maybe economically, maybe in terms of their status. They start to think so many things, and They start having so many crazy thoughts going through their head. And they wonder, if you're telling me be a man, it means that what I have been doing is much less than what it takes to be a man. And so they start thinking so many negative thoughts. And for some of them, it demoralizes them. It makes them feel like they can never meet up. It makes them feel like they have so much more to prove to people. It makes people feel like they have to prove something. Because when you tell someone be a man, they now feel like, oh, that means I'm not performing well. There's something I'm not doing right. So I better go get the template. What is it? What is it I have to do? Somebody pass me the template. Somebody show me what it is. Show me how exactly I'm supposed to be a man. And then they start running helter-skelter, doing different things, and trying so much to fit into the model. Trying so much to fit into the mold of what society says be a man should look like. So they try so hard to ensure that they are exactly what society expects of them. Now, the second consequence or negative effect of telling men be a man is that they start to feel shame. There are some people who, no matter what you do, they just feel, this is who I am. This is how I'm wired. I am not stoic. I am not aloof. I am not unemotional. But when you tell me be a man, it means you're telling me that what I am is not good enough. It means you're telling me that I am inadequate. It means you're telling me that who I am is not good enough to fit society's mold or to fit the family culture and tradition. So they start to feel shame. They start to feel inadequate. And that now leads to another consequence, which is that they start to self-loathe. To self-loathe means to stop loving yourself. They start looking down on themselves. Because if someone or a bunch of people can tell them, be a man, or you're not acting like a man, or you need to stop doing these things you're doing and act like a man. You know, there are a million ways in which we can say, be a man. If society can tell them that, then that means that they are not good enough. And some people don't have that personal push. They don't have that resilience. They don't have that tenacity within themselves to say, it doesn't matter what people think of me. This is who I am. This is all I can be. This is what I love being. This is how I love being as a man. And I don't have to fit into what anybody thinks of me, or what anybody says I should be, or how anybody says I should be. Some people don't have that self-confidence. Some people don't have that self-trust. Some people don't have that self-love. And so when some kind of doubt is cast on them, they assimilate it, they absorb it, they believe it, they listen to it, and then they think that is how they are. They think that the description, the poor description that was given of them is who they are. And then they start to feel shame, and then they stop loving themselves. That takes us to another consequence, another negative effect of telling men be a man. And that is that people start to want to act out in different ways. When you tell a man be a man, and he starts to have that internal conflict within himself, like he knows he's one way, but everybody else is saying you should be the other way. You should try and be more silent. You should not express how you're feeling. If you're not happy about something, just have this stone cold face, this stone cold expression. Don't vocalize your feelings. If somebody hurts you, you don't have to tell them. When they start feeling like they are torn between who they really are and who people want them to be, there's going to be an internal conflict in them. There's going to be a mental disparity between who they are and who everyone wants them to be. And so, just like what happens when anyone, irrespective of gender, suffers from internal conflict and turmoil, they start lashing out in different ways. The guy could start maybe dating so many people at the same time just to prove, I'm a man. I'm a man and you should not doubt that. Or he could start to do things that will harm him. Or he could start to take out his frustrations on people in different ways. He will start lashing out, start getting upset at everything. It's not necessarily what's going on around him that is upsetting him. It is what is going on within him. And so when we tell men, be a man, and it happens to be that it is not those set of people who are encouraged by the statement, but those who are discouraged, those who feel inadequate, what we end up doing is that we cause them internal conflicts, is that we make them start struggling within themselves. And that is another way to show that they are suffering from identity crisis. When somebody is a certain way, you don't accept the person, you don't love the person, you don't encourage the person, you don't accept that person the way he or she is. You leave that person with an identity crisis. It takes a strong person to say, this is who I am, and I'm not going to change for you. I know myself, and I love myself the way I am. It takes a very strong person. It takes an extraordinary person to love himself so much that it doesn't matter what you think of him. He will remain true to who he is. He will remain himself. He will be exactly who he wants to be, not who you think he should be. It takes an extraordinary person to do that. But most people don't have that internal strength. They don't have that internal confidence and assurance. They don't have that self-assurance to say, I am who I am. Love me as I am, or leave me be in peace. Don't come and try to change me. Don't come and try to remold me to be someone else. And when you leave people with internal crisis, some people find it more difficult to fix the internal crisis, to fix the voices in their heads, to fix that inner turmoil. And so they start doing things that endanger people around them. They start becoming menaces. They no longer know who they are. And some of them take to illegal substances because now they have no self-confidence. They have no self-trust. They don't know who they are. And so anything goes. They can't stand for anything because they don't even know who they are. What's their identity? If the identity is not firm, if it's not rooted, if it's not one that comes from within, if it is one that wavers, depending on people's opinions, depending on how people feel about them, depending on how people treat them on a certain day, then they are likely to go on a bend. They are likely to do things that you never imagined because there is so much going on in their heads. There is so much going on in their minds. There is so much going on that they cannot voice. And you know what makes it worse? You gave somebody internal crisis. You gave that person mental turmoil, and then you said, be stoic, don't speak, don't voice your opinions. Is that not a recipe for disaster? When you make somebody doubt who they are, you make somebody lose their identity, then you tell them to be silent. How on earth do you want them to go about that? How on earth do you want them to cope? How on earth do you want them to be stable? Of course, that is a recipe for instability. So we need to think about these things that we say. And we really need to be extra careful what we tell people. Because for you, you just say, yeah, I just said my mind. I just expressed my opinion. It doesn't matter. But the listener, the receiver, the audience, the person who you're telling that thing to, the person who you're calling names, the person whom you're telling, fix your life, change your life, adapt to who I be, is being affected by your words. Words are not just ordinary. I have a video where I've talked about mastering your words. I'll put the link of that video when this live is over. I'll put the link in the description of this live video. Words are not just ordinary. They impact people a lot. So when you make a statement like be a man, it is just 3 words. Be a man. You just think to yourself, this is just an ordinary statement. But it is a very loaded statement. It is a statement that calls for a reshaping of one's identity. Because before you tell somebody be a man, it means you would not quite describe the person as a man in terms of behavior. It means that the person is not conforming to your image or idea of what a man should be. It means that the person is nowhere near the image that you have of a man. And so when you're telling somebody be a man, you are telling the person switch up your identity. You're telling the person respond to situations in a different way. You're telling the person don't be yourself. Be someone else. Be who I want you to be. Be somebody that society wants you to be. That's what you say when you're telling someone be a man. Be a man may seem like a regular statement to you that it's just a normal thing we say. But to the man who is hearing the statement and getting depressed and demoralized and gradually having a decline of his mental health, it is much more than a statement. For some men, it is a sign of rejection. For some men, it is an insult. For some men, it is a call to change, complete change of one's identity. So don't ever take that statement, be a man, like just a simple statement you can tell anyone else. We need to find solutions to these problems. Because if you ask many men, I don't have many people on my live stream today. I have just one person at the moment. I would have really loved to hear from men. I would have loved to know how men feel when they hear the statement, be a man. But from my observations and from interactions I've had with guys, they will tell you that when they hear that statement, be a man, it's not something that they really like. Because like I said, if you're telling someone be a man, you are usually, whether you know it or not, telling that person, switch up your lifestyle. And that's why I say it is more of a problem than a source of motivation for men. I think I'm going to do this video again, and I would love to know how men feel, because Like I said, I don't have people on my live stream tonight. The last one I did, I had a couple of comments. It was quite interactive. But tonight, I don't have many people on my live stream. But I'm hoping that when this becomes an uploaded video, when it's no longer streaming live, men can drop in their comments and tell me how that statement, "be a man," makes them feel. Does it make you feel inadequate? Does the statement, "be a man," make you feel inadequate? Does it make you feel like you have something to prove? Does the statement, "be a man," make you feel like you now have to treat people less than, or that you should now see yourself as better than others, or you should now become domineering? Because in more cases than not, when people say "be a man," they are usually saying become domineering, talk down on people. I've seen it. I'm saying from my experience what I've seen. But if that's not the case with you, I would like you to tell me in the comments when this video has been uploaded after it has streamed. Tell me how you respond to the statement, "be a man." Because every time I hear that statement, especially in relation to couples, if someone comes and starts telling the man, "be a man," it usually is a way of saying dominate, be domineering, let them feel your power or your wrath. That's what I've seen. That has been my experience. When I see couples and someone says "be a man" to the man of the house, or to the husband, or the male figure in the relationship. So solutions, we need to find solutions. A solution that I think will work is to first and foremost acknowledge that a man is just as human as a woman. Did you get what I said? The way a woman is a human being is the same way a man is a human being. I mean, look at when they are kids, look at when they are born. There usually isn't much disparity. The way you give birth to a male child is the way you give birth to a female child. When you are in the labor room, they don't say, okay, those that have had scans and they see that they are carrying female babies, come to this side of the ward. And those that are having male babies, come to this other side of the ward. I have never heard that. That would be so strange and absurd. It's the same way a woman gives birth to a male child that she gives birth to a female child. And that now means that it is societal conditioning that gets people to now think that a man should be a certain way and a woman should be a certain way. Yes, their biologies are different to some extent. But what I'm saying is that it's not an inborn thing. It is something that is learned. It is something that is taught. It is something you acquire as you interact with people, as you go about your business every day, as you learn the culture and you assimilate what's going on around you. So it's not something you say is biological. It's something that is cultural and it's something that is taught. So let's always remember that background, that just as a woman gave birth to a male child, she also gave birth to a female child. And that now means that if a female child can cry, a male child can cry. I mean, when they are babies, they cry the same way, don't they? So why all of a sudden should a female child be able, or let's say now that she's an adult, why should she still be able to express herself? But the man the same male child who has grown up now to be a man not be allowed to express himself? Does it make him look more macho? Does it make him look more dependable? Does it make him look more stoic? What exactly are we trying to achieve as a society when we tell men not to express their feelings? Do we not understand that self-expression is very important? Self-expression allows you to vent and release pent-up emotions. It allows you to breathe more freely instead of holding it all together and trying to be perfect and act as if you're superhuman. If women have that gift, that freedom to express themselves, the men should also have the freedom to express themselves. Now I understand that many people cannot stand a man crying. They cannot stand a man venting. But I think that their inability to stand or see and be comfortable with a man expressing himself and expressing the full range of his emotions stems from the fact that they haven't been seeing it, not from the fact that it is unnatural. I don't think there's anything unnatural about self-expression. I don't think there's anything unnatural about self-expression. And so men should be able to express themselves. In as much as people may not be comfortable, in as much as people may not be able to stand by and see a man cry, release his emotions, share his thoughts, be himself, men can still, should still be able to express themselves better than they are at the moment. All that suppression of emotions, all that keeping it all together, all that be a man, it's not healthy for anyone's mental health. It is simply messing with the men's mental health. And if you have a close friend or a brother or a colleague, somebody who is close to you, you can ask them as a lady and say, what exactly do you go through? Tell me how you feel. If these guys start telling you what they have been going through, how they cannot express themselves, how they have so much to say, and they want to release the emotions because they feel like they are going to explode, it's just that they don't have a safe place. You will be surprised by how much they will say. You'll be surprised that they have so much to say. And you'll be surprised that so much is going on behind the scenes that you don't know about. So much is going on in the lives of our men that we don't even know about because we don't let them express themselves. Because we say men are not allowed to cry. Because we say be a man, be strong, be macho. There is so much that is going on with these men. And tomorrow you wonder why they are acting out. Tomorrow you wonder why they are taking out their frustrations on you. Tomorrow you wonder why they are having unnecessary outbursts. But those outbursts are not unnecessary. They are not unnecessary. You just don't know that this is like a balloon. When you're piling your emotions and you're stuffing them in, you're keeping them in, those emotions have to find a way out. And so like a balloon, they would start releasing the air little by little, and before you know it, the balloon goes pfft. Before you know it, those emotions that people pile, The emotions that people hide and keep within themselves, they don't just dissipate. Do you know that? They have to come out. They can't remain in the chest. They cannot remain in the chest. And until you do something about your emotions, either by talking them through or finding solutions to those things that you're thinking about, the overwhelming thoughts, going to therapy, talking to a trusted friend, until you find solutions, those emotions will keep piling up and they will find a release one way or the other. And you may be shocked at what kind of release those emotions will get one day. And they will take you unawares. They will take you so unawares that you will ask yourself, what just happened? What did I just do? Or you just, like a lady now, you could just see a very calm guy and you're like, this guy is cool. This guy is predictable. This guy is stable. And one day he just does something that you could never have imagined that this guy would do. And it shocks you. And worse still, he shocks himself because he's like, what did I just do? And you, the lady, you're stunned like, he's not who I thought he was. But it's the same guy. It's just that a lot has been piling and piling and piling. And this guy has been wondering, how do I let this thing be released? Because I feel like I'm going to just blow up. I feel like I'm going to blow up. I need some release somehow. And so he would do something that you've never imagined. He would do something that he himself did not plan to do. So the solution is give people space to be human. Give men space to be human. Let them be themselves. I mean, life is too short to be putting up a show for anybody. Life is too short for you to put up a show for anybody. In other words, life is too short for you not to be your true self. What's the essence of pretending? What is the essence of acting strong? What is the essence of letting those emotions get the better part of you? What is the essence of pretending like you are not hot? When you are suffering from a myriad of emotions, you are going through so much. What is the essence? This life is just a little time. If you spend your whole life putting up a show, if you spend your whole life pretending, when are you going to live out your real life? When are you going to be your real self? Have you ever asked yourself that? As a man, when are you going to be you? So there is no need. There is no need to be putting up appearances or trying to be who you're not. It's going to catch up with you. Your mental health is going to suffer. And you're always going to have this myriad of emotions going through your mind. And so you need to find a healthy space. You also need to find your person or persons or your group where you can express yourself without being judged. You know, that for men is one of the biggest fears, being judged harshly. Many men will tell you that they cannot stand someone who judges them, who is always pointing out what they did wrong, who is always telling them you could have done this the other way, what you did is not okay. Men want to be understood. Men want to be accepted. Men want to be valued. Men want to be appreciated. I'm not saying that women don't have these needs too. They do. Every human being does. Every human being wants to be accepted, wants to be loved, wants to be treated fairly, wants to be heard, seen and understood. But most importantly, every human being, irrespective of gender, wants to be themselves without being judged. But today, like I said, we are focusing on men's mental health because it is something that many of us overlook. Many cultures across the world overlook men's mental health because they feel that the man must be strong. It doesn't matter what he feels, it doesn't matter what he's going through, he has to be a man. And like I asked earlier in this live stream, what exactly is a man? What? How would you describe a man? And remember, we're not talking about the physique. We're talking about the personality, the character, the person, the attitude. So who is a man? What is a man? Men need to find their space, a safe space. Men need to find, even if it's that one friend, that they can talk to and truly be themselves around. It could be other men. It could be a lady. It could be a family member. It could be a friend. It could be your spouse. But you need to have at least one person that you can vent to if you need to vent. Somebody that you will be unfiltered with, unedited with, and say, this is how I'm feeling. Somebody you can just tell your raw emotions without having to check if it is politically correct, without having to check if it suits the global times, without having to check if you're saying it in the right words, without having to check if they will judge you. You just want to be yourself. And so it's good to find that person or that group, that small circle where you can be yourself and where whatever you say will not be used against you, where nobody will hold it over your head or keep reminding you, last time you were vulnerable, you were weak. Then they term your vulnerability as weakness. People want to be vulnerable. Men want to be vulnerable, but they are scared that they will be harshly judged. They are scared of being misunderstood. They are scared that nobody cares to see the real vulnerable them. People just want to see the edited version, the perfect version of this man. And that is why they have to maintain the facade. They have to maintain the appearance. They have to keep trying to fit the mold, unrealistic as it may be, improbable as it may be, unpleasant as the mold may be. Many men try to fit into the mold because they don't know. They don't know how to be themselves. They don't know if anyone will still love them if they are their real selves. They don't know if society will accept them the way they really are. And so they put up appearances. But everyone needs a safe space. Start curating, molding, and harnessing your safe space today. You may not have someone you can speak to at the moment. So if you don't have someone, why don't you become someone else's someone? Do you get what I'm saying? If you don't have a friend you can speak to, but you have a friend who needs to speak to someone, why not be that person's sounding board? Because sometimes in giving, you receive. If you have a friend who needs to vent, you have a friend who needs a safe space, you can be that person's safe space, and in turn, that person will become your safe space. Have you ever considered that? Tell me what you think about this solution that I just preferred. I just prefer the solution which says, be somebody's safe space. They may in turn become your safe space. Tell me what you think about that. And if you try it out, give me feedback. Let's see how that works. Because men need a safe space. They need a place where they can be themselves. There has been so much damage done to men's mental health because they cannot truly be themselves, because they cannot truly express how they feel, because society keeps echoing and re-echoing, be a man, because society puts so much pressure on them and has this personality that they expect men to fit into. There is so much pressure on our men. There is so much pressure on the mental health of our men. And so we need to create a safer space for them. And ladies, can we also try to reduce the pressure? I'm hoping that when this video is uploaded, not just guys, but ladies would also watch this video and start to see how they are adding or contributing to the immense pressure that men feel on a day-to-day basis, because they keep re-echoing what they have heard society and culture say. They keep telling their men, their friends, their colleagues, their brothers, be a man. But do women also realize the import of be a man? Or are they just singing a chorus that they learned from society? So ladies, let's find a way to help our men. It doesn't matter whether they are people we are dating or married to. It doesn't matter whether it's a romantic relationship. It can even be a platonic relationship. It can be your friend. It can be your brother. It can be a colleague. It can be a neighbor. But let us find ways to make men feel safe, seen, heard, accepted. I keep telling you that the major thing that men want is to be accepted, just like we women want. We want to be accepted. And so, just as much as we are asking for acceptance and for unconditional love, let us also give these men the acceptance and unconditional love that they also crave. Let's not make them feel like they have to be silent, or that they cannot express themselves, or that the environment is too stiff for them to truly be themselves. When we were growing up with our brothers, we saw the many aspects of our brothers. There are some things I can tell you about my brother. Even if you've been married to him for 40 years, you will not know. I can tell you that, you see this particular brother of mine, he's so playful. He loves this, he loves that. But in your own setting, in your marital setting, you may not see him in that light. You may not see that this brother of mine can spend all day conversing with me. You may not see it. You may not see that this brother of mine plays games. He loves to play games. You may not see it, because that's not how your home setting is. Not saying that you're not a good wife. I'm just saying that the conditioning is different. Because when we were just growing up as kids, nobody was telling him be a man. He was just a boy. He was just my brother, and that was okay. And I saw the full range of this budding young man, just as I was a budding young woman. But now that he's older, and he's a husband and a father, and society is now telling him, be a man, And he has now tried to conform into the image, into the mold that society has carved for him as what a man should be. Now that he's trying to play the role, because I'll call it playing a role. Now that he's trying to play the role, he's different from that brother I had growing up. He's different. And that is why you see that when siblings come together, the way they behave with each other, especially siblings who love each other and are friendly with each other, and then are of different genders, the way they behave with each other is different from the way they behave with their spouses. Because these people grow up as besties, they grow up as friends, they grow up as kids without responsibility. So they knew each other in their most, will I call it, most pure states, without any responsibilities, without any mindset, without any expectations. They grew up without expectations. So they saw each other to the fullest as siblings. And so when we relate with our men, let us see them like we will see our brothers. We don't have expectations for our brothers, do we? Do you tell your brother be a man? I mean your brother you're growing up with. Do you tell your brother be a man? If you're actually telling your brother be a man, then probably it's something that your family is echoing. It's a family culture, a family tradition. That's not what I'm talking about. I am saying on a regular basis, you don't go saying be a man to your brother. So let's give men the room to be themselves. Let's give men the room to not have to pretend or wear a mask around us or around other people or even around other men. It's tiring, it's exhausting. And if you ask men around you, they will tell you it's a lot of pressure. It is intense. It is so intense, it is so consuming, and it is so exhausting. So sometimes they want to take off the mask and be themselves. Let's give them room to be themselves. Okay, we've done 52 minutes and I don't have any comments yet, but like I said, when you watch this video, after it has been uploaded, please drop your comments and tell me what you think about this topic that I have discussed. Tell me what you think about the statement, be a man, and how it makes you feel. And if you're a lady and you're someone who says be a man, tell me what you mean when you tell a man, be a man. And if you're a man, tell me how you feel when people tell you to be a man. And some people will tell you that, some men will tell you that it depends on who is telling them be a man. That if it's their mom or their dad, okay, they'll take it a certain way. If it's their fellow man telling them be a man, they'll take it a certain way. But if it is the woman in their life saying be a man, there's also a certain way in which they will take it. If you fall into that category, please also tell me in the comments section. I've had fun doing this. This is a topic that I have taken personally because I have lots of young men around me and I see the pressure of that statement, be a man, on them, and how it puts them under this intense need and pressure to perform. They want to perform so much. They want to meet the expectations so badly that they forget who they are and they lose their identity. And that's why I decided that it's something worth talking about. It's something worth discussing and bringing out here to the public so that we can talk about it and see the pros and cons See the highs and lows. See the advantages and disadvantages of the statement, be a man. So I enjoyed bringing this live stream to you. This was fun, really, really fun. But please, let's make this more fun next time. I'll be scheduling my live streams so that you know when they are coming on. And please join me for the next one. And I hope to see you there. Get your chats, get your comments, get your questions, and let's interact. Let's interact and make this more fun. All right then, fellow inspirers, this has been the Chief Inspirer, and I think I'm going to sign out now. All right, see you in the next live stream. See you in my next video. Bye for now. Oh, and like I always say, don't forget to be an inspiration. I'll see you in the next live stream or the next video. Bye for now.